Hello, my name is Françoise Fallis. I'm Belgian and I've been living as an expatriate in Africa for more than 7 years, in various countries being Nigeria, Morocco, Egypt and again in Nigeria, where I've now been living for 8 months in Lagos. The name of my business activity is Emergent Science, and my aim is to connect managers of different cultures in a global and constantly evolving business environment. In other words, I assist managers from multicultural environment to understand their environment, adapt themselves, communicate efficiently, perform rapidly, and develop themselves. If they manage teams, I help them to create a team spirit and know how to integrate change. I have the conviction that managers are more stable, more motivated and more performing if they are more trained and better adapted to their environment. I intervene in long-term guiding missions for the person, for the team, for the organizations, as a certified coach, a trainer and a consultant. My various experiences abroad helped me develop receptiveness towards Africa and reinforced my passion for interpersonal relationships and foreign cultures. Now, for my first talk with you, I would like to talk about how to start good and authentic relationships in West Africa. In order to start your business, manage local staff, or simply entertain good relationships if you are settled there. Therefore, my focus is here on the culture factor because it is an essential key to gain better understanding, greater insight and receptiveness towards the host country. The culture factor will inevitably impact the quality of your relationships with your foreign correspondent. I don't mean here to judge anybody. I refer to my observations at a distance and to my personal and professional experience as a foreigner in Africa. So there are a few points I would like to talk to, but as an introduction, Black Africa and Sub-Saharan Africa starts with the countries located under the first French of North Africa. West Africa is a land region covering the western part of the Saharan Africa. It mainly includes the countries along the curve of African continent, the Atlantic Ocean and the Benin Gulf, till Senegal River and the countries covered by the Niger River Basin. Countries are Senegal, Bissau, Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, Ivory Coast, Ghana, Togo, Benin, Niger and Nigeria. Languages spoken are English, French, Portuguese and local and regional dialects linked to the numerous tribes. There are Muslims, Christians with multiple local communities as well as animists. Though all West Africans cannot be mixed up, and what I will say is also valid with nuances to other West African countries. There is one country which stands out as the fastest growing country in Africa. I mean, I will talk about Nigeria. I will more concentrate on that country today. So my first point is about movement and joy. Let me tell you a story. One client asked me lately if I had ever taken part to their famous private parties, as big as by the number of participants as by the important logistics, that it almost looks like a public party. She told me, you know, the friend of my friend is my friend too, and I can invite him or her. And many of these networking parties are exclusively reserved for women. So each party has its specific theme and you need to get attired in the color specified by the theme. What I mean, in other words, is that Nigerians love big assemblies, movement, tension, noise, and they like expressing themselves loudly. They are quite exuberant, and in this sense they greatly differ from their quieter, smaller, and much more discreet neighbor, Benin. Their natural joy of life is rather spontaneous and can be very communicative. They can be friendly if your attitude shows sincere respect. So appreciate them as they are. Demonstrate spontaneity, but take time to refresh yourself out of the turbulence and noise, as for most foreigners, we are not always prepared for it. However, West Africans globally look less relaxed as East Africans, taking things, especially for Nigerians, much more seriously. So be cautious when making any jokes. Nigerians don't make fun of themselves, and they will usually be much more touchy than they appear at first sight. So, taking first contact is rather easy, especially as local companies still need to find technical expertise out of their country in order to manufacture goods, develop their business, and penetrate the global market. But many still lack management skills. Multinationals, in the same way, also use foreign subcontractors and suppliers. Banks, insurance companies, consulting firms specialized in tax, audit, legal services are fast-growing sectors, employing more and more highly qualified technical staff. So let's talk about pride and dignity. Many Nigerian people seem to have an overdeveloped esteem and opinion of themselves, acting in every way with great dignity, what we may regard as foreigners as pride or even conceit. They will consider you with interest as soon as you have proved yourself worthy, as they are first mistrustful, and trust can take time to settle. Though foreign and particularly Western expertise is highly valued and appreciated, they will often ask you for references. So now a next element, what's their vision of life and their relationship to time? As many African or in sub-Sahara, Nigerians have a very short time vision of life, meaning it is very hard, if not impossible, for most of them to create a vision, make future plans, and organize their work consequently. Our driver, for instance, uses to say that Nigerians are very unpredictable people, especially considering everyday traffic in Lagos. The positive aspect of this feature is that they can quickly react to an immediate situation and finding an immediate solution, which focuses on their great creativity and their sense of entrepreneurship. As foreigners, we need to accept unexpected situations, regular delays, for at a distance no good reason to explain them except disorganization and lack of planning. We need to be patient, get prepared for the unexpected, show flexibility to some extent. By to some extent, I mean that they think and then they immediately act without always considering if it is the right moment to do so, or if the person is ready to listen to them, or if they really thought of the consequences of their actions. They do not seem to anticipate and listen to and consider others' opinions. This common lack of empathy leads to interruption, disruptions and sudden changes of plans, which is very disturbing. Now, our next point is communication, their mode of communication. As far as their mode of communication is concerned, they are very direct. They will ask you very direct questions. Though appearing to me quite a bit formal at first, their questions are direct and sometimes lacking of refinement, but this all depends on the level of education of your correspondent on the spot. So do not get offended too quickly if they do so. Knowing this, when leading a team, we can as foreigners focus on more efficient dialogue, making them understand that their actions are interconnected with others in the company, and hence making them more aware of their responsibilities with step-by-step smarter goals. This way of managing can gradually help them understand their roles and view their daily task not only as their earning, but also as a mission inside the company, which becomes much more motivating for everyone. They are very proud people, sometimes behaving in an arrogant way, but they want to be regarded as equals as their foreign colleagues or managers, as they do not consider themselves as inferior. They want to win back their own resources, and foreigners are often there to help them to do so. They usually do not view partnership the same way Westerners understand it. Independently from their national cultures and traditions, historical background and local governments, I feel African countries which were colonized by the French and or the British were deeply but differently influenced, and it has greatly impacted their present behaviors in the way, for instance, they view the people of their former colony, keep trace of culture, the culture of the former colony, or in the way civil services are organized. As a last point, I would like to talk about dealing conflict. Globally, most of them prefer negotiation and dialogue as a way to deal with conflict, to aggression and violence, though the harsh way of addressing others may give you the opposite impression. Managing your team, you need to consider that some conflicts arising in the team may be far from connected to the job. They can be linked to religious beliefs and mutual misunderstandings, tribal disputes, even private quarrels. Private life is closely linked to professional life, and it is far from being rare to notice Nigerian human resources managers to select preferably members of their village as an important criteria in the recruitment process for the ideal candidate. And it is the same for promotions. This all takes part to a system. They have a great sense of the community, as it is the case in many African countries. Once the first cultural barriers have been completed, they can demonstrate much sincerity, joyful exuberance, warm welcome, which can be very refreshing after a hard and stressful workday. So, as a conclusion, address your correspondent in respect to his or her direct mode of communication, proving him or her your expertise with flexibility, patience, open-mindedness, but with a very determined attitude, keeping in mind your goals. You can also show you appreciate his or her joy of life and pay attention to his or her family, but it all depends on the level, the moment, and the level of discussions. In my Out of Africa spring newsletter coming in June, I will concentrate on how to develop good and authentic relationships with North Africa, in North Africa. I thank you for your listening and your watching, and see you soon.